Determined to make her own path in life, Princess Merida defies a custom that brings chaos to her kingdom. Granted one wish, Merida must rely on her bravery and her archery skills to undo a beastly curse.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with
Michelle,
Andre,
Luis,
and me, Emily. We're a family-friendly podcast where we pick a new Disney movie each week. We watch it, share our thoughts, and then relate it to pop culture, fandoms, and anything else that pops into our heads. Enjoy!
hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 45.
45. Staying alive.
45 Stay Alive, yeah.
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 45. 45.
I love that Bee Gees song. Awesome.
I'm really proud of you for knowing that was the Bee Gees, Lou.
Of course I know it.
He loves it.
You can tell by the way I'm moving.
He was... You were in the right falsetto-ish area. Words,
Well,
not so much.
By the way I lose my talk, I'm a woman's man. No time to talk.
You were closer.
This podcast is about Disney
You
movies.
can look the other way.
Oh my God.
Sometimes.
I'm so done.
This week, we are going to talk to you about the movie
Staying alive. Staying alive.
Brave.
Staying human. Staying human.
Staying a bear? Staying a bear.
They want to stay human.
Pixar's 2012 animated film, Brave.
Brave.
Starring Kelly MacDonald.
Brave.
Directed by Brenda Chapman and Mark Andrews.
I need to pause this right now.
Pause?
If you had the chance to change it. No, not actually
No,
pause
I didn't pause it.
Oh, okay. I thought you paused it.
I'm just clicking around.
Well, you can't just click when
It
I'm
looks
talking.
like you paused
I
it.
didn't
Okay,
pause it.
here's the deal. It didn't actually say if you had the chance to change your fate, would you? It didn't actually say that in the movie.
Right.
Didn't it?
No! Didn't hear it.
So where the heck did
Was that a commercial
Where
thing?
did we get that from?
Was that a commercial thing?
I believe, yeah, that's from the trailer.
Well,
Like,
what the
it's
heck?
like-
That's like the thing you remember from this.
It's like the narration at the end of the trailer as she like sees the will of the wisps.
But that's kind of annoying that that's like...
to change your fate. Would ya?
Oh, would ya? I'm okay. I thought it was going to be in the
I
movie.
didn't even
was waiting
realize
for
that.
it. I was waiting for
It's
it.
a pretty good marketing play though, because it's almost as if like they're saying if you wanted to change your fate, come watch this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Come watch it.
And then the
Come watch this movie if your life sucks. Boom.
yeah, on the poster it says change your fate. So I think that's probably a marketing term.
Yeah, but that makes sense. Okay.
Like the
Okay.
script writers might not have even come up with that. It was all
All
the
right,
marketing team.
Luis, since this is your birthday month and is your birthday movie you picked, what's your first impression?
It's your
I love
birthday
it.
princess.
I love this movie. I liked it from the beginning, from the first time I saw it. Excuse me. This girl is totally awesome. She doesn't take
No
for an
crap off of
answer.
nobody.
Yeah, she's a bad mother.
She's very strong-willed, and I think the first time I saw this movie, I hadn't yet to see a princess that was pretty strong-willed like her. Can't think of one.
We just talked about Mulan.
Oh, was she a princess?
Pocahontas.
She's like a Disney princess, but she's not like a princess.
Pocahontas. Was
Ariel
the only
didn't
one,
give
yeah.
no crap. She left.
I feel like she gave a fair amount of craps about a lot of things.
Can we use different language? Is it necessary that we talk about craps in that way?
Well, pretty much what I'm trying to get
Sebastian.
at, she was a strong, independent woman along with Pocahontas. So let me go ahead and correct myself. You know, she was the first one since Pocahontas that I saw.
I
Was
think
very
Luis.
strong-willed.
I think he appreciates the fact and the way that she goes about it. Like it seems more modern in the approach because Pocahontas. I mean, really, all of them. If you think about it, I mean, I don't care who it is. If it's Ariel to Rapunzel, whoever, they're trying very hard to appease someone, and then they break out. Like Merida's, like, I ain't even doing that. Like, I'm just going my way. I'm not doing.
No,
what
I'm trying
you
to
need.
please me.
Yeah. So I think that in that way, she's definitely more strong-willed to start.
Which is why Louis likes her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, too, I'm not very fond of the old traditional helpless maid Disney princess thing.
Maid.
Helpless
It's
maid.
not, it's not,
Maiden.
I'm not about that.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Andre, what's your first impression?
Same. Basically, I love this movie too. This movie is really good. It's like very it's adventurous. It's like a I was gonna say a modern fairy tale, but it's not modern.
Which is
at
funny
all.
because I feel like I use the word modern too because her actions are very modern for
Right.
the time period.
Sure, yeah. It's like it's modern for it's the time that it came out.
It's an original story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Very good. Jolly good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emily, first impression.
It was good.
It was good.
I liked it.
Emily's first impression is always the shortest. It was good.
Well, I mean, it's a first impression. It's good.
Can't be shorter than mine.
Today it was. It was good. I enjoyed it. There was some good parts. There were some parts. There was excitement, banter, hilariousness.
Word.
Feels.
Yeah.
Anywho,
This
For
it was good.
real, here's the thing.
This movie had emotions.
Deep down inside,
emotions.
she loves it, but because it made her feel emotions, she doesn't love
She has to reject
She's
it.
a mom now, so, you know.
I don't know. I didn't like it when I saw it like before I was a mom, before we were married.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later.
Pre-baby.
Pre-bay.
Pre-bay.
I thought you were talking about the horse, nays before bays. Anyways, my first impression
Angus.
is
Eh?
This is the third time I've seen this movie, and upon this watching, I enjoyed it a lot more. Brave is at the bottom of my Pixar list.
Okay.
Probably because of feels it gives me, and I don't want to relate to it on that level. So the first time I saw it in the theater, I came out, I was like, that was a mom and daughter story. Like, it wasn't what I was expecting. Like,
Right.
I thought it was going to be like this coming of age princess, like, type
was
of thing.
coming of age
Which
princess.
it was. It was. But, I have to be very, very much in the mood to watch it. So,
Interesting.
Okay.
Very interesting.
And also, okay, so let's kind of start on that topic of when I saw this movie in the theater. It definitely wasn't a story that I thought it was going to be about.
Okay.
I didn't know it was going to be like a mom
I did not
daughter
either.
story.
I think that's because like most of the trailers, they really focus on like those first like 15, 20 minutes of the movie.
Like
Whereas,
her
like,
on her birthday, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming that's her birthday. What did it say? It was her birthday,
I
the
don't know
day
if
where
it
she
was
gets
her
to do
birthday,
whatever she wants.
But oh yeah, was that her birthday?
I want to
don't know
say
why
it
she got to do that.
was. I want to say it was.
I don't know if
Sure,
they said it.
let's-
We literally
let's say it's
just
her
watched this
birthday.
movie 15 minutes ago, and I cannot remember if they said that. But it was the one day of the year that she
That
said she gets to
to
do her.
Go out and have
And-
fun.
I think that's like her mother's gift to her on her birthday. That's the only explanation.
I don't think it
got.
was her birthday. She just was saying that I don't have to be a princess. There's some days where I don't. All she said was there's some days where I don't have to be a princess.
It was one
Did she
day.
say
It was
one
just
day?
Yeah.
Oh, it was probably her birthday then, yeah.
I
Because
don't
she
know.
got that arrow, the bow and arrow on her birthday.
Truth.
From her
Oh, right,
childhood.
right,
So
right.
that's probably.
Yeah. that
So
makes sense.
that's cool, but I feel like the trailer and all the marketing was played to that scene.
Right,
Like,
it was played to that and to the I'm not marrying any of these boys. I'm
Yeah.
gonna hit all these arrows. Boom,
Yeah,
boom, boom.
definitely.
yeah,
boom,
like
boom, boom,
I'm
boom.
out, I'm doing me.
Yeah.
Riding a
So
horse.
then when the mother-daughter stuff started happening, I was like, wait, what? Like, that's what this movie's going to be about? It wasn't what I was expecting, for sure. And so things that were going on in my life at the time upon my first watching of this movie, I was not having this movie. I was like, this is what this movie's about. We're going to have a mother-daughter thing going on. No thanks. Put those feels away. No thanks. And so even the second time I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm going to, like, get past the mom-daughter thing. And I did enjoy it more. And then this time I enjoyed it more. But it's one of those movies, like, if there's anything going on in your life, like, if you're fighting with a parent, don't watch this movie. Like,
True.
Well,
it's
yeah.
not going to sit well with you, you know? Or
Well-
it might. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of similar, and we haven't watched this movie yet, but if you think of, like, Up, I could
Yeah.
imagine where, like, people in certain life stages, like,
Right.
watching literally the first 5 minutes of that movie montage are going to be like, I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
Or, like,
Yeah.
cry their little hearts out.
Yeah.
My
make it
grandfather
through the rest of
died
the
from
movie.
Alzheimer's a couple of months before we watched Coco, so I was losing my mind. I was
Yep.
like, no, she doesn't remember anything.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
if you're having some familial issues, don't watch this movie.
Don't watch Pixar movies.
Yeah, Pixar with
What's
the
wrong with
feels.
you?
Come on. So
Watch Cool Runnings instead.
that's
no
why
familial
I would say it's
issues.
not my.
You're right.
fav-
That gave me
Yeah.
zero feels. There you go.
Feels
Moving
all
along.
the happiness. This is it's a feels movie for sure. On another note, Merida is absolutely amazing. I love her. Like, she's super, super great. She's a great role model. Addie really enjoyed when she came on the screen. She was dancing.
I'm gonna take it back on the she's a great role model. Like,
Well,
I'm
as
not
like
sa-
a strong, independent woman
Yeah.
type of character versus like, I am a princess.
yeah,
One day my prince will come.
I just don't.
You know what? Yes and no.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Yes
where
and
I'm at.
no. Yes, in terms of she's going to do what she wants or when she wants, but no, because I'll be honest, it was seen more teenagery.
Yeah.
She was at that
immaturity.
stage where I'm not looking
Yeah.
forward
She's
to.
rebellious.
Yeah, very rebellious for being rebellious' sake, not necessarily to do
Well,
her own fate.
I think it didn't all have to do with her fate, but I think she wanted to do what she wanted more often than she got to do what she wanted. You know,
Yeah.
she felt like she did not have a lot of control over her life, so she was acting out. Yeah, acting out.
It's
is
funny
the right
though
word.
because when I watch this movie now as an adult and I think back to times in my life where I can relate to her, where it's like I remember not getting to do what I wanted to do or whatever. I
For
think of her
sure.
and I think like I wonder if she really did get to do more than she put on because we're watching this movie from her point of view.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And as a teenager, you are self-absorbed because that's where your mindset is. And
Right.
poor little Merida, man, she thinks that the world is just crashing down on her. Now I feel her. If I
Oh,
had
for
been,
sure.
been told like you're gonna get betrothed, I
Right.
would have been like, nah. But it's interesting because she was at that place where it was all about her, and she couldn't see past like the meaning behind what her parents were trying to say.
True.
Which I'm not saying is
Which
wrong
is a
because
teenager perspective
for
for
sure.
sure. Like,
Agreed.
I've been there. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I've been
oh
there.
yeah, that was my life. Listen,
Yeah.
It was funny because I laugh about it now, even though it was not funny at the time. My parents never hit me, which was cool, I guess. But I
Pretty cool.
Must be
Wow.
nice.
well,
Benign.
here's the deal, y'all. I got like 6-hour lectures for like talking back,
Ugh.
for like being like whatever, and getting like a 6-hour lecture because of that whatever.
Man.
Isn't that where you were like, you would rather just hit me instead?
Yeah, one
Let me
time-
go. I don't want to hear it.
Yes, one time I
This
told
is
my
more
dad.
torturous than any pain you could inflict upon
Yeah,
me.
one time I got real ballsy and was like, you know what? I'd rather you just hit me, and that didn't go.
I
over
didn't
well.
get real ballsy until my like junior/senior year of high school, and then into college when I was like, I'm moving out. Whatever, parents.
Yeah, and that's when I met Michelle.
Yeah.
It was a rough time in our
Emily-
lives.
Emily,
The two of you together.
Yeah, Emily had to help me grow up a little
You
bit.
know,
It was
it's
fun.
it's life.
That's what bigs are
Rebellion
for.
all over the place.
Hey, that's okay. Emily had to help me grow up too.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, I helped Andre grow up. So.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've been a grown man.
Wow,
this
we're
entire
better
time.
people now, guys. And so I kind of made the comment when we were watching this movie, like, okay, first of all, she's just trying to enjoy her dinner, and her mom gets these notes, and she's like, all of the clans said that they're gonna come bring their son, and you're gonna get betrothed, and that's how she told her.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, it's literally happening tomorrow. That if that was me, I would have lost it too. Like,
Oh,
I
for
would have been
sure.
like, "Excuse you, mother." No,
See, and that's what leads me to believe
sure.
that day was her birthday.
it could have been.
Because, I'm assuming at a certain
like
age,
16th birthday or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah,
when
I'm
That's
sure
when
she's like
ready
16
to be
or something.
betrothed or whatever.
But
So-
that's no fun. And at least her dad was trying to make fun of the situation, and try to brighten it a little bit because he's probably like, oh, my poor tomboy daughter. Like, she doesn't want to do this.
But it's interesting, too, when you look at it from the mom's perspective. And it's not so much that it's her perspective, but the way that people interact with her. She's gotten to be queen bee this whole time.
Right.
Like, even though he's king, she is
She's
definitely
the matriarch.
She's the neck that turns that head. You know what I mean? So nobody's
she's ruling that.
Yeah, she's never really been told, like, maybe you should talk to her in a different way.
Right, exactly. Like, I think I am of the mindset that, like, I agree with Merida for most of this movie.
Truth.
And that's because of the way that
Mom
the
talks to
queen,
her.
yeah, how she acts, how she behaves, how she parents. Her parenting style is not my favorite.
And
Right.
and oh god, and I think that's what gives me like the because I mean maybe not everyone's gone through those phases with their parents,
But we've
there-
been there, yeah.
There was some phases, and there's still some phases where it's like, you do this, and I'm like, wait, what? Like the whole like if they had just listened to each other
Right,
thing in
yeah.
this movie, like rings so true to just
Mm-hmm.
mother-daughter or parental-children relationships in general.
On the same topic, I kind of feel as if the mother had to be hard on her, because if you look at the way royal families work, she's married into royalty. So it's almost as if like, oh, it's just,
She's
the queen.
overcompensating for sure. Yeah.
And because she's the first one in line of the royal family, she's has to prepare her better than how she was prepared for this role, because she was an outsider coming in, and Merida is the insider in that kingdom.
Yeah. She's
Well,
overcompensating.
that's why I think she has to be. Oh, you're definitely overcompensating
Yeah.
Right.
because she like.
There's
again,
a lot of
she's
pressure
the
on her,
one in
and we
line.
see that because in the movie we see, the multiple perspectives from Merida. She doesn't see those conversations, and so
Well, and she doesn't see how really goofy
No.
her dad is.
Right, yeah.
Which as much as
No.
like best character in the movie is the dad. For
Fergus.
sure.
hands down, Dad is.
But he's not a very good like set down the law type dad.
Right, yeah.
He's very hands off. He likes to be the fun guy.
Yeah.
He's not helping mom with
No,
preparing
with-
her to be
exactly.
this leader.
Neither of them are explaining to her what her exact responsibilities are going to be, and what life is going to be like for her. You know?
Right.
Like
And
mom is just
even
saying, a
mom's
princess
like,
doesn't do
"Come
that. A
on."
princess doesn't do that.
And you know
Princess doesn't
what?
do
I
that.
kind of got. I need to give props to the queen, because in a totally weird, unrelated way, it kind of ticks me off that he was like that. He pretty much just made mom seem like the villain.
Right,
And
yeah.
never did anything.
He
to
made her
step
the bad
in.
guy the entire time.
Well,
and
and
I was
that's-
like, come on, Dad, step up. And I'm surprised the queen didn't slap him upside the head.
Well, and that's one of the things I like, and this was a movie we talked about, like, it feels like forever ago now, but when we talked about Moana, so it's kind of similar, where
Yeah.
Moana's like, no, I want to go be in the ocean with my hair breezy flapping or whatever.
Breezy flapping.
and Dad's like, nah.
And Dad's like, no, but I feel like they did a better job explaining to her, this is what we're doing, this is the responsibility, this is why, this is how, and this is the reason why you can't do what you want to do.
Right.
Like Merida, like you were saying, Merida's mom is just, Eleanor, is that her name?
Eleanor.
Is just like, no. No. And of course a teenager wants to rebel. I mean, Emily wants to rebel when people tell her no.
Heck yeah, I wanted to rebel against Eleanor. She's saying princesses don't do that. Princesses gotta not stuff their gob. I would have been stuffing my gob right then.
That's right.
Yeah, she told her not to stuff her gob.
Oh, for a minute there, I thought you went full Scottish on us. I couldn't understand what you were trying to say.
Stuff your gob?
Yeah, you're
Stuff his gob.
sounding like that dude.
No, Chen Po.
We'll get to Chen Po.
Scottish Chen Po.
So, yeah,
but-
it's interesting.
So I understand it, but I really appreciate Dad in this, in the moment where he is trying to tell Eleanor, like, you need to talk to her different. Because, like, communication's key, guys. Without communication.
I want to stay single and let my hair flow in the wind as I ride through the glen, firing arrows into the sunset. Does that sound just like him?
That sounded great.
That
hilarious.
sounded exactly
It was nothing like
Fergus.
him, but it was great. Thank
It's also
you.
hilarious because, I mean, this is the only third time I've seen this movie, but that quote is, like, very vividly engraved into my brain from World of Color, because they added that Brave scene in a couple years after, or like the year that movie came out. And, like, I don't know why they put that in the World of Colors, but that's
Because that's one of
sticks
the
with me.
funniest moments.
Yeah. It's pretty
riding
good.
off into the sunset, shooting arrows. Hilarious. You go, Dad. Dad's the bee's knees.
The bee's knees.
It's pretty funny.
So, anyways, poor Merida's going to be betrothed, and there's some games coming up, and I made the comment that, hey, being betrothed wouldn't be so bad if she was a little bit older and if the pickings were good, but the pickings weren't good.
They were
Slim. Yeah.
Slim to none.
Slim thick.
slim dumb.
So basically, how this clan or kingdom, I don't want to call it a kingdom, but it kind of is a kingdom now. It is broken up into 4 clans. Her dad, Merida's dad, is the king. And there's 3 other clans.
Bro.
So they're going to bring a suitor from each of the clans to fight for her hand, which is so medieval and ridiculous. And the pickings...
To compete.
Yeah, to compete for her hand. Fight, compete, yes, for her hand.
And the cool thing is she gets to choose what they do. Like, she gets to
Right.
choose what the competition is.
Yeah,
so
which
she
is
could
cool.
have been, like, jousting and hope they all killed each other off, but she didn't think of
Yeah, I
that.
would have done something like that.
Uh,
Like, fight to the death.
So her idea was instead to do archery because she heard Mom explaining the rules of said games.
Right.
And her rules were that the firstborn of each
clan.
clan got to fight for the
gets to
hand of the
compete.
princess.
Yes, exactly.
And so she took that as, well, I'm the firstborn of my clan, so I'm going to fight from my own hand.
Loophole.
Oh my gosh, hilarious.
And actually, you know what? Good for her, because that's
I'm gonna fight for my own hand.
and that's why for generations to come, they have a little, what do you call that thing? And it's shit. What's it called?
I don't know.
Huh?
An appendix that says you are not allowed to fight for your own hand in marriage.
An amendment.
An amendment.
in the rule book.
In the rule book of Dunbrock, it says you cannot fight for your own.
So,
Dunbrook.
So remind me, what are the 3 names of the 3 clans? I can't necessarily remember because they got some funky names.
There's Macintosh with the long dark hair.
Oh yeah.
There's
You mean the Thebians?
Yes, he looks exactly like the painter from Hercules in Thebes, who's painting the
End of the
vase.
world.
Yes,
He literally looks just
looks
like
just
him.
like him. The
And
dad.
his son looks like
Wee
Kylo
Macintosh.
Ren / Josh Groban
Yeah.
/ Loki
right.
with blue paint. And I'm okay with it.
Then there's the MacGuffin clan. That's the dude with the pigtails and his son, who we can't understand at all.
Who we've been calling Chinpo because
Chinpo.
he's a little Chinpo-y.
Yeah. And then there's Dingwall.
Dingwall.
Luis said that he looks like a what, Lou?
It looks like a thumb.
Looks like a
thumb.
I wrote he looks like a dingus. Dingwall the dingus. I don't know what
Well,
a
they
dingus
are
is,
dingus.
but he looks like one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know
Him
what you're
and his
saying.
little bitey son.
His bitey son, who's like basically a little squirrel.
Sick 'em! Dingwall.
All right, guys. Since we are on the topic of betrothing,
Oh.
Oh,
Bye.
betrothing.
I thought it'd be kind of interesting to switch up this week's battle.
Dun 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 Scottish battle.
All right.
Scottish battle.
So, this is a never before done theme to this week's battle.
Oh.
Scottish games.
Andre and myself will have to step aside from this battle.
I feel like I
and
know what
it
you're
is
gonna do.
only you two,
Because
Michelle
it's ladies'
and
night.
Ems.
And the feel is right. It's ladies' night. Oh, what a night.
Earlier, you guys had mentioned that the pickings was very slim.
Yeah,
Okay.
Slim Pickens.
So for this week's battle, no loopholes are involved. Which one of the 3 clansmen would you guys end
Oh
up
my
choosing?
gosh.
Would it be Wade Dangle, the teeth, or would it be young Macintosh, the Wren, or would it be
The Wren.
young McGuffin, the sumo-looking guy from Mulan?
The Chinko.
Who would it go?
All right. So right off the bat, the thumb is out.
Hold on. We're going to write it down and then we're going to talk about it because we can't change our mind once we choose.
Well, okay. But for
Okay,
me,
so Weed Dingle's out.
for me personally, Wee Dingle is out.
Okay.
Now
Wee
I
Dingle.
see two.
Dingle, stop.
I see two. There's problems and benefits to both of the others. Ren, the one with the blue paint,
Uh-huh.
long,
Young
McGuffin.
Macintosh.
long
Macintosh,
flowy hair,
excuse me.
Josh Groban. He's the cutest of the bunch. He gets but he's very full of himself.
He's flexing his pecs.
The positive is that he could possibly. He's a pretty boy. He could possibly be gay, and then I just wouldn't have to worry about it. You know, he would marry me, and it would be fine. I don't know.
This is your way out of a betrothed
Yes.
marriage.
The other one, Chen Po.
I'm done.
Chen Po, he seems like a big teddy bear. Like, he seems like a nice guy, but you cannot understand what he says at all, which might be beneficial. Like, he might just talk, and I'm like, sure. I don't know what you're saying, sir. Those are the benefits of each, and they're
Sounds like
not
a
really
good-
that great.
Good foundation to
So which one would you pick?
foundation for a strong
Which one would I
relationship.
pick?
Yeah, that was a
It
battle.
wasn't like an explanation of why he didn't
Why
like
they're
them.
terrible. You gotta pick one.
Yeah.
That's the battle.
Though, and let me remind you that your best bet at this point is that your husband turns out to be gay, so you don't have to deal with it.
This is why we should have just written him down and then explained why we wanted the person. Nobody
Okay,
listens to
well,
Mm-hmm.
I can't decide. Emily, continue. Talk.
I'm just gonna say I'm gonna go with the annoying one, the Josh Groban, because
Josh Groban?
I could smack him around enough to like get him to
Oh, my.
realize who's important.
Oh, heavens.
Because I can't not communicate with somebody.
Right.
Like, So apparently, he's speaking a dialect of Scottish.
Right.
It's
Gaelic,
like
right?
Gaelic.
no, it's Lord.
So
It starts with a D.
he's speaking English, but it's
He's speaking Scottish.
a Scottish dialect.
Dialect. If it's not Gaelic, it's dialect.
I'll find it. I'll tell you what it is, but it's a dialect of, which makes it like, I guess over time you would probably be able to understand him, but
Yeah, I was
that
gonna
would
say you
drive
would
me
learn.
so insane.
Right.
Because like when Luis mumbles, I literally want to smack him. Or like if he's like, what did you just whisper? What?
First off, I don't sound like that.
Okay, Star-Lord trying
Yeah.
to be Thor.
What are you talking about? This is always my voice.
Oh my god. So okay, you'd go with
So I'd go with Groban
Ah,
because you never know. He could have a very nice swinging voice.
yeah.
Sure.
It's hard for me because part of me, you could tell the Josh Groban looking dude is very full of himself. Like when he got mad that his arrow didn't hit the center, even though he did well, and he was throwing a little hissy fit tantrum.
He had anger issues.
I don't think I could put up with that. Like, so I'm gonna go with the other guy, Chempo. I know we're not even calling them by their real names, but
That's MacGuffin.
I'm gonna go with MacGuffin because he seems like the nicest out of all three of them. I didn't see anything annoying come out. He looks like a big teddy bear. He could be really.
when he's shooting his arrow and it's
Friggin' hilarious.
He could be really nice,
Fingers.
but I can't understand him, so I don't know if he's really nice.
He's
but-
probably the nicest. I would
But
agree.
I think I could look past that, and either I would learn the dialect, or then he would speak better English, and then we'd be okay.
You want to know? Since we've now chosen, your name would be Michelle McGuffin.
Michelle McGuffin.
It wouldn't
That sounds pretty cool.
sound like that.
Emily McIntosh sounds much better.
Yeah.
Michelle McGuffin rolls off the tongue.
I don't
No,
know.
it doesn't.
MacGuffin is pretty cool.
McGuffin makes me want to.
One day I'll be Michelle Morton, so you know.
Michelle Morton.
Michelle
M&Ms, which I'm
McGuffin
eating right
Morton.
now. Some M&Ms.
Always
And then
nice.
you will have Dougie Leonard Morton.
Leopold is my dog's middle name. Anyway,
Michelle is very upset that Louise keeps calling him Leonard.
his name's not Leonard.
It's only funny because you get mad.
Please respond on our blog post with Leonard. Please and thank you. On
No,
our Instagram
wait.
post with Leonard, please. Thank you.
You could respond to the battle. Which of these Scottish boys would you have chosen?
I would have chosen
Listeners.
Leonard. Done.
I would have fought for my own hand for
Leonard.
the show.
Angus.
Yeah.
Angus.
Angus. Bays before
Angus.
nays. I mean, nays before bays.
Nays
Dude, it's a
before
good horse.
bays.
Can you finish the battle so I can stop?
The Scottish battle.
Thank you.
That was great.
Good battle. Good stuff.
That was awful.
I didn't have
Don't
to,
ever make me do that
I
again.
didn't have to do anything.
Haha. I told you guys would like
Andre,
it.
who
It was
would
a
you
bit
have
of a change.
chosen?
Bitey? Can I fight for my own hand?
No.
That wasn't a choice.
The dude I can't understand. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't choose Kylo Ren.
Nah, I don't like to talk a lot anyway, so he'll be over there mumbling.
He doesn't like to talk anyway. Shut
He'll
up.
be over there mumbling, and I'll be over there playing video games. We'll just live a quiet life for 50 years until we both die in each other's arms.
Ooh, can I poison him?
Whoa!
Can I put a little pie on a plate and hand it to him and
Turn him
into
into a bear!
You know, that's rough. Silly witch turning people into bears.
Let's talk about the witch.
The witch.
I like the witch.
So Merida doesn't want to get married, and she runs off, and she sees
She runs off into the forest.
a will-o'-the-wisp, and the will-o'-the-wisp in the forest leads her to a witch's cottage.
Yeah.
But she was actually a wood whittler.
No, she was actually a witch that was a wood whittler.
Was also wood whittling.
Yeah, she was whittling.
Whittling wood.
Wood whittling witch.
the wood whittling witch who lived in the woods. And yeah,
Lots of W's.
she's pretty good at whittling wood. She's also like very good at magic. Like she seems extremely powerful to me.
Yeah, she's pretty adept.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because we realize very quickly that she's either obsessed with bears or she has an affinity with bears.
Right.
Because
She's got a bear thing.
she, literally everything that she carves is bears, on top of the fact that pretty much everyone she's ever done magic for turns into a bear.
We didn't know that at that point, but
No, but we find it out. She
Yeah.
got a
she
bear
likes
thing.
bears.
She's got
She's
a bear
a bear
thing.
witch. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
You know how like cat ladies? She's like a bear lady.
Bears are her
much
niche.
cooler than a cat lady.
That's her niche. Bears.
Bears. But yeah, I think like she reminds me with her magical ability of like Merlin and Madame Mim in what's that movie called? Sword in the Stone. Yeah.
Stone.
Sword Stone.
Stoner.
Stoner.
Oh my god. Yeah, so she helps Merida out after Merida promises her a very fancy necklace. Did they ever go into detail about the necklace? That's like her family crest.
It would have been very cool if that had been
Just,
like we're giving this to you on your birthday because it is the key to the kingdom
right,
or something.
Something like that.
Just so that we
yeah.
could have been like, oh, that is important
Yeah.
versus just,
There wasn't a
it's
lot
a
of
cool little,
context for the necklace.
Mhm.
It's got some
I think it
bears
was the
on it.
family crest.
yeah,
Yeah.
it had 3 bears.
Yeah, 3 bears.
She liked it. It was shiny. The witch said, sure, buy all of my wood things and I'll give you 1 spell.
Yeah.
Well, Merida said it, but yeah, you're right.
my best spell, turn someone into a bear. Oh, you want to change somebody? I got you. Let's give them fur.
Yeah, she didn't even care what it was. Like, that spell always comes back to the person turning into a bear.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what you need? Oh, I got it. They turn it into a bear.
The witch has like a 50% win ratio. She's like, either turning you into a bear fixes all your problems or it ruins your entire life and your whole family's life. That's
And
the
you
way
end
it
up
is.
being a bear anyway, so what are you going to do? Come back and get me for
And
it?
I just
Sounds
won't
good.
tell you
I
that I'm
love
going to turn
bears.
them into a bear because it'd be better if it was a surprise, you know?
Right, yeah.
I like it.
Her magic, when she's making the potion to create the pie, it seems like it's very whimsical what she's doing as she's like putting on a mask over her face and her bird's face.
Freaking welder's helmet. So funny.
Like it seems very whimsical at that moment, but then when she's actually like concocting it and like pulling the pie up out of the potion,
The potion is scary
It
looking.
seems so evil and dark to me. Like,
Well, were you watching the potion?
that's not how
Because
pies are made.
that was not a Dutch oven. Well, maybe not Dutch oven. It was
It's not any kind of oven.
Luis made a face because you think about other kind of Dutch ovens.
That was coffee.
But were you like watching what the like actual cauldron was doing? Like
Bubbling.
At one point it turned into like lava.
Yeah.
And one turned green, and then it was like bubbling, and then it was like
It's
purple.
It's like congealing by
yeah,
the
it was
end
like
of it.
goop.
Yeah.
So
Gross.
each time she put something in, it was almost like changing complete form,
Mm-hmm.
which was really interesting because then it obviously changes the form of a human
Right. Yeah.
into a
It
scary
was
animal.
Transmortifying.
Cake will turn you into a bear.
Yes. And you not even the whole cake. Just have a bite of it.
A
Amber?
little baby queen bite.
Yeah. That doesn't even
Amber?
taste that good.
That's what it is. Like poison apple. They poisoned her. Amber?
Is that what you're saying?
Not everyone knows that reference.
Snow White.
From
Amber?
Snow White.
Why are you saying apper? You're literally saying APPER.
The evil queen from Snow
The evil
White.
queen sounds like that. She gets the apple and she goes, Amber?
No. She says apple.
No.
No,
she
no.
does not.
You're spelling it wrong in your pronunciation. I cannot with your apper. Okay.
As she hands the deadly apple to Snow White. Amber?
Yeah, like that. Amber? That's what happened.
Anyway, similar
Louise has no comment.
poison food.
I can't wait till the next time I go to Disneyland and I see that part on the ride and I just hear apper.
I do that to Andre all the time.
Yeah, I've known about Apper for a long time.
From Michelle, not from the movie.
Anyways, the point is it's a cake. A cake.
I forgot where we were at.
Cake? It's a peace offering.
Caker.
Craig.
Oh, God.
All right.
Well, the good part is that it made me laugh that it didn't taste good.
Yeah.
Like, at first she tried it and she was all excited that Merida had made it for him. Then she was like, God, what did you
Ugh,
put in that?
It's a little bit tart.
And meaty.
And gamey.
Oh, yeah, gamey.
Yeah, exactly. Merida's hair's in there and stuff.
I know, which is hilarious. So what was like have meat pieces in there? Like
Ugh.
it's a bear pie.
I'm telling you, it's like evil.
Gross.
It's evil, nasty, disgusting. Gross pie.
What do bears eat? Fish?
Fish,
I mean, it's fishy.
honey. I know.
Gross
I
pie.
know for a fact bears eat honey. I've seen Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Speaking of, I just watched Winnie the Pooh the other day.
Oh.
One of the movies. It's on Netflix.
Mhm.
And Yeah. I remember really enjoying the TV show. I'm pretty sure it was a TV show, right?
Sure,
Like
yeah.
Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh Bear. That
Oh,
one?
that was more modern.
Yeah.
Was that a TV
that was
show,
like
though?
The 90s
Yeah,
version of
that
the
was
TV show,
that was.
That's what I watched.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I watched like there was like Heffalumps or something.
Mhm.
It was like the Heffalump
movie.
Lumpy. The Heffalump.
He's from the Heffalump movie.
Yeah. So
Did you watch Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh?
I don't think so.
That's like the original.
Or did you
No.
watch like the new 2011 Winnie the Pooh animated movie?
I think that's must have been what it was,
Okay.
and it was pretty rough. So point
I
being,
like that one. I think.
didn't eat as much honey as I was expecting,
Oh,
and they were I don't know.
Don't watch the Tigger movie. You'll cry.
Oh, well,
if you're Michelle.
Yeah.
yeah, I ain't crying over.
Anyways,
Oh,
so
bother.
her mom's a bear now.
Mom is a bear
Who?
now.
Merida's mom.
Oh.
She's a bear.
Remember that movie we were talking about, Brave?
I don't know. I was on Winnie the Pooh.
Merida's mom is a Pooh bear.
Winnie the Pooh Bear.
I don't like that version of the song. I like
Na,
the,
na, na,
I like
na.
the original.
Dee nee 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 nee. I
No.
gotta be there.
Yeah, that's because that's the modern one.
Winnie the Pooh.
Woo!
Winnie the Pooh. Chubby little cuddly all
Stuffed
stuffed
with
with
fluff.
fluffies. All right. So mom's a
Merida
bear.
the bears. Her mom's a bear.
You know what? I was
Merida's hair.
in that scene where
Merida's
Merida's
hair.
buying all the woodworking. I was looking everywhere for Winnie the Pooh. I was like, he's got to be in here. And
No
I didn't,
Pooh Bear.
I didn't see him at all.
Agreed.
I don't know if that Winnie the Pooh showed up in there, but
That would have been fabulous.
missed opportunity. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
All the Disney bears should have been in there.
So Merida's mom's a bear. I
She
absolutely
ate the pie, turned into a
ate
bear.
the pie, turned into a bear. I absolutely love her physicality as a bear.
God, it's so funny.
It's so funny the way she
They
like
used-
moves her
they
hips,
used
and her
the-
hands are always at her chest.
What's the cat with the hips?
The cat with
The
the
white
hips.
cat, mama cat.
Duchess
Yeah, they must
from
have,
Aristocats.
Oh.
they must have used some of that animation. The way she moves.
That was the goose,
That's
but
the
yes.
geese. Excuse me.
But yes, she definitely still has the mannerisms of a queen in a bear's body up on two legs, which is hilarious because apparently, like, to scale, Merida's like 5'4", and Eleanor as a bear is like over 9 feet. So them next to each other is hilarious
Yeah.
to see Merida like
Mommy.
standing up and she's looking up at her mom, and the mom is like really grossed out or offended or something, but it's a bear.
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
It's really good. And the entire time that she is in her own mind, she is like completely still. The
queen.
This is what a queen does. A queen eats with a wooden fork and a wooden knife, then cuts into a poisonous berry.
Which is a twig.
It's very.
Don't forget about the water with worms.
Ugh.
Ew.
Yeah, she's not good out in the wild.
Which is painfully obvious. Like, she's trying to still be a mom, but she's not good at being like wilderness queen at
Right.
all.
Yeah.
So she's having a major rough time, and Merida has to show her up a little bit, which is cool that she was able to do that for her, because if Merida had been all stately princess like she wanted, they both would have
They wouldn't have made it.
had an issue
Yeah.
out there.
Mm-hmm. And I don't. How far away from the castle did they get?
I don't even think they were that far.
Yeah.
I just think that they were hiding in the woods.
Sure. Okay.
She just couldn't go back to the castle. She's
As a bear.
so
Accept her for who she is.
Well, that's unfortunate that her husband's only fear in life is a bear.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like if Captain Hook's wife was an alligator.
Really sucks.
No, Smee. It's Smee. Smee turns into an alligator.
That's his wife.
That's his wife.
plot twist. But yes, they're bears. Bears in the woods.
You guys,
Do bears go in the woods?
I'm going to read this because I wrote it in my notes. I put, Merida's mom is not reacting very well to this evil potion cake. It's unbearable.
I'm laughing because of your face, not because it's funny.
I had to look away. I looked away. I looked at Emily. I was
That's all
like,
I needed. I'm hilarious. Anyway.
First of all,
Your face is hilarious, I guess.
I have to say that
unbearable.
my favorite scene.
Your joke was unbearable.
It was. My favorite scene from when Merida's mom, Eleanor, first turns into a bear is when they're trying to escape from the castle, and she runs into her 3 sons, Hamish, Harris, and something else. Horace, Hamish, and Harris.
That sounds right, but I have no idea. I have no idea what.
I think
Luis
it's
is
right.
giving you a thumbs up like he knows.
Horace, Hamus, and Harris, the 3 little triplet brothers of hers, have to be the best thing ever.
And they know immediately that it's their mom.
Yeah, that's what's so funny because their mom's a bear, and she's like, "Put those back on the wall, sons." And they're
Yeah,
like,
they're taking down. So they're total.
Oh, mom bear.
They're troublemakers, and they apparently don't get in trouble when Merida feels like all she ever gets is like towing the line.
Right.
So
But they're boys.
yeah, well, I'll know about all about that.
Yeah.
But so she comes in and she sees that they're taking all of the game heads off of the walls, and then she's literally, as a bear, pointing to them to put it back, and they're literally putting it back, and they're like, "Okay, mom, sorry."
Oh, sorry,
And
mom.
they look at Merida like, "What did you do to her?"
How'd you make mom
Hilarious.
more scary? I didn't know that was possible.
hilarious. And I can sympathize with them because they're always stealing the desserts. That's something I would do.
Yeah, and they're really good at it too. They're like
Yeah,
little,
can you imagine like if you were a triplet? Like, to me, 3 triplet boys totally sound like they'd be scheming and like
It sounds
helping
like the
out
worst
each
life
other all
ever.
the time.
yeah.
To be
Like-
one and to have them. Sorry.
That would just for sure
Sorry,
be happening.
triplets.
It's so hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. I'd like to have 2 like-minded individuals at my side
They
at all
might not be
times.
like-minded, but
And that leads us to Maudie.
Maudie, who's having probably the worst job in the castle, I think.
So Maudie is like the handmaiden to the kids, pretty much, and she, like, I mean, kind of nanny-ish, but she's more like
A babysitter? Or
she seems kind of like
like a
Almost
wet,
like
a wet nurse?
a woman butler.
no.
yeah, kind of like
yeah,
a
yeah.
female.
She's a handmaiden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, she gets the worst out of everything because the boys are pretty much tormenting her all the time.
Yeah.
And every time there's a freaking bear in the castle, real or not, like it's finding her and terrorizing this poor lady.
Yeah. Screaming. She's running
Poor
away.
lady.
Yeah, she's got a rough life.
Yep. Maybe if she wore a
She needs
higher
a
shirt,
raise.
though, it might help her. She has a lot of bosom.
This is the most bosom since Who Framed Roger Rabbit in a Disney movie, I think.
Oh my God.
There's a lot going on,
Girl,
Maudie.
give that girl a raise.
And a
Give
new
her a
shirt.
raise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you give her a raise, she can buy a new shirt. Boom.
She doesn't need a
Ta-da.
new shirt. She got that Scottish dude at the very end, that big old scarred up man.
Oh God, that was hilarious. Okay, so
She don't need no shirt.
Anyway,
Oh, Lord almighty.
were you about to say something?
I forgot.
Okay. Great. Let's talk about life in the woods as a bear.
When the
With-
cold
with
winds
Eleanor.
is falling. No, that song was before that. JK. There is a song going on while they're catching some fishies.
Yeah, I like the montage where Merida is teaching her mom how to be a bear.
Yeah, so she's pretty much giving her life lessons in being self-sufficient.
Mhm.
So Merida's showing her like how to fish, how to cook, and or eat like not raw fish.
Right.
And that's the first time that we see Eleanor kind of turn into a real bear. So they're having kind of a good time as mom and daughter bear, and then
Getting
Eleanor
good at catching fish.
yeah. And then Eleanor kind of all of a sudden you see it's very cool the way they did the animation. So when she's like Eleanor Bear, she has like whites in her eyes and she looks a little bit more cartoony just
Yeah.
in the face
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, and she's on 2 feet.
She's just more
so-
animated.
Right. And then when she turns into full bear, her eyes black all the way over.
Yeah.
And it's not like she gets evil. She just turns into a real
bear.
freaking bear.
Yeah.
And you see her for the first time kind of like react to Merida as a regular bear, and Merida realizes like, oh, like we need to figure this out because you're actually going to turn into a real bear.
Right.
So
Whatever.
So they go back to the witch's cottage, and she left her a voicemail.
hilarious.
If you're that last with the red hair, file number 3.
Hilarious.
It's very good. I wonder
I really like what they did with the witch. Like,
I wonder if that
that's really great.
particular joke goes over kids' heads more and more as time goes on. Like if that's the joke that's not going to hold up in this movie. 'Cause like voicemail is still around, but I don't know that it'll be around forever.
It's
And
still
if-
around, but also like
Well, it's funny because it's more to me. It's less of a. I mean, it is a voicemail in the sense of it's stored for her, but to me, it's more of an automated call.
Right,
yes,
yes.
I was
So
just
like
gonna
how
say
when you're
that,
going to
like,
call the doctor
It's a
and they're
robocall.
like,
press line 1
Yeah.
to speak to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
and you're like,
Press
no,
line
you start
You'd like
pressing all the
Gaelic,
buttons.
press 2.
Press star to speak to an operator. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
It'd be hilarious if she said it like in Spanish, like para español.
Prima uno. Usually it's prima dos.
That would have been hilarious.
Exactly.
But she did it with Gaelic.
Gaelic.
Yeah.
Good
oh
stuff.
yes, Gaelic.
Yeah, so then they learn that she's going to become a full bear forever.
After 2
After 2
sunrises.
days, because we got Freaky Friday on us,
Right.
the switch will be permanent.
And so
It just
they,
reminds me of Freaky Friday, you know.
they give her
After a certain time, the switch is permanent.
they give her a
I
nice
remember
clue. She says, "Fate be changed, look inside, mend the bond torn by pride."
I feel like that was the most easy to figure out
Yeah.
thing ever, and they chose to focus on a tapestry.
Well,
Let's
she
go
broke
get that physical thing.
she separated the tapestry, but the reason
It
she
ain't no
focused,
magical tapestry.
yeah, but the reason
Trapestry.
Tapestry. The reason she focused on the tapestry is because of what they saw in the beat up castle.
Right. They go to the
That's what made her think
They
of
go
the
to the-
tapestry.
the legendary castle, and they find inside that this is the legend of those 4 brothers that split up the kingdom,
There
and one of them
once
went
was a
crazy.
kingdom.
And turns out he went crazy and turned into a bear.
Mordu.
Pretty much what he wanted, which is murder, if you think
Yeah.
about it.
Murder.
All he wanted was the strength of 10 men. So, haha, turn into a bear. You got the strength of
Yeah.
10 men. Boom.
That witch.
10 men.
Come on.
I feel like a bear could take more than 10 men. I
Probably.
don't know. I guess it depends on how skilled the men are.
Just their pure raw strength, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, very strong bear. Very scary bear. More to do.
So he's the one who took off Dad's leg.
Yeah.
Foot.
So funny. I think that's so funny.
So funny.
I don't know if it's funny,
I'm
but
sorry, that's
it's-
not what I meant. The way that the dad talks about it all the time is
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dad totally needs to avenge his
And
leg.
then just the way he does it, and you can tell that they've told the story so many times because the little boy's like mouthing the story and acting it
Oh,
out.
yeah, that's right.
Very funny.
Oh, I love it.
Those kids are great.
So the wisps are interesting, and it's really funny because we watched this movie together as a podcast, but we also watched it with my mom. So it was interesting because she had never seen it, and she kept saying like, these wisps are supposed to take her to her fate, but I don't really think they're helping her. And it was funny because I agree with her in the fact that they weren't taking her towards like, I'm just going to take you towards cupcakes and rainbows.
Right.
But it was taking her to like self-discovery.
Yes.
So every time that it took her somewhere, it kept taking her back to the circle of stones. So it started with her ending up in the circle, and she went off to the witch's house.
Uh-huh.
And once the witch's conversation was over, she got magically transported back to the circle.
stones.
Then the next time she goes out there, now she has Mom, and they end up going back. But when they have the wisps, they go to that magic. It's not magic. It's the torn down kingdom.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
And they learn about how their legend is real and how the bear is actually Mordor.
More to do.
Okay.
Mordu.
Mordo from
Mordo.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The eye of-
Mordor.
Yeah. He's the eye of Sauron. And pretty much without that knowledge, she wouldn't have figured out how to beat it and the seriousness of breaking up your family.
Right. It led her down the rough path, but the right path.
Truth.
Yes. I'm reading on Wikipedia right now on Will-o'-the-Wisp. It says
Is it a thing?
it's an atmospheric ghost light seen by travelers at night, especially over bogs, swamps, or marshes. It resembles a flickering lamp and is said to recede if approached, drawing travelers from the safe paths. The phenomenon is known by a variety of names, including jack-o'-lantern, friar's lantern, hinky punk,
Hinky
and
punks and
hobby
nargles.
lantern. Yeah, that's about
Like
it.
Hinky punks and nargles.
Yeah.
Isn't that from Harry Potter?
From Harry Potter, yes.
So
Which is actually from this Wikipedia article.
so they're taking. So the idea is that they're taking them down another alternate path.
Yes.
I see.
Probably more dangerous one.
But apparently more insightful.
Yeah, more the
I mean, if I saw a magical wisp, I'd follow it.
I would not.
I would.
In real life, you would follow it.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
throw a rock.
That's why you would die first in the movies.
I throw a
True.
rock at it, and then
Throw a rock at it.
decide by what it does.
It didn't look that scary, the wisp. So that's why
No.
I say I would follow it.
Which is why it's dangerous.
Intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that looks
It's a
scary that
trap.
wants you to follow them.
Heck no, I ain't following that.
Right?
But something that looks nice. Hey, come on, follow me.
Why do you think people get in trucks with people who have candy.
Right.
Because they're hungry.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways. Yes, I know, but I still probably would have followed it. Because
That's
I
why
think
I worry about
I
you,
think
Michelle.
from this story, they don't, like when the mom was talking about like the magic of the will o' the wisps and stuff, they didn't seem dangerous like,
That's
per
true.
se in
Right.
this movie.
Yeah. In this mythology.
Yes.
Okay.
Which was an interesting take.
Yeah. This movie was written and directed by Brenda McDonald. She's the first female director for Pixar. So she wrote the story as like an original fairy tale, and she started directing the movie. But then at some point she got
I read about this.
She got like removed from the movie, like for creative differences with Pixar. And so Mark Andrews took over, but she said that after the movie came out, she was still very proud of it, and I guess they kept most of her stuff in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And apparently, I think it was her relationship with her teenage daughter.
Yes.
That really kind of brought out like
Inspired the story.
the mama bear versus the.
It's great. It's a great take on, because you think of you say mama bear, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a thing.
Yeah.
So it's a great twist on like a fairy tale. Like I know it's a fairy tale, but it's also like an original story with like a twist. So I really appreciate that, and Pixar does that super, super well. This was also, we talked about how in Coco, that was like the first kind of like full ethnic cast to the ethnicity of the movie, you know, and a lot, this was kind of the first Disney Pixar movie that the cast was majorly Scottish.
Yeah.
For a Scottish
entirely
movie,
Scottish.
which I think is why we got those good accents. We didn't get them last week with Cool Runnings, but we sure got them this week with Brave.
That is very true.
Well, you know, and it's funny because I was reading, and apparently Reese Witherspoon was the one originally cast to
Right.
play Merida.
That wouldn't have worked.
And, I mean, what would we have had? Freaking Billy Connolly as the dad, who's like
Yes.
the most Scottish man. He plays every Scottish man
Yeah.
you've ever heard. And then you're going to have Reese Witherspoon?
So I read that she had been attached to the project for like a fairly long time, Reese Witherspoon, and that she was like getting her accent down and she was like ready to go, but then she had like some conflicts with some other movie and had to drop out.
I won't lie to you, though. I appreciate that we're starting to get away from like mainstream actors being the leads and taking on the correct
Yeah.
national or
Yeah.
ethnic or
Like
whatever.
how they did with Moana and how they did with
Truth.
Coco. Like, I love that.
I'm
Yeah.
very happy with that direction because it's a little bothersome when which, and of course, we've heard this debate forever, but when you see princesses that don't look like the demographic that is watching the movie. Now, it's easy for me to watch a
Right.
Disney princess because they're white, a lot
Yeah,
of them,
most
and
of
I'm
them.
white, and so it's like I could identify with them.
95%.
You know what I mean? But I remember, and this isn't. I remember when Princess and the Frog came out, and one of my really good sorority sisters, me and Michelle are really close friends with a sister who's African American, and when Tiana became big and was on that screen, man, I have never seen her light up with Disney
Right.
on another level.
Yeah.
Like
She lost her mind.
she lost her damn mind.
I lost my mind. I watched that movie like
Your
12
sister lost her
times.
mind, I'm sure.
Well, and it's
Yeah,
funny
she did
because
too.
now every time you hear her, it's like I mean, obviously we don't live in New Orleans, so
Right.
she doesn't identify in that way, but just to have someone that looks like her and that she can identify with, I feel like that's really important for girls, especially growing up when we keep talking about these characters who
Right.
we want to be good role models.
representation matters.
Why do you think I connected with a mermaid so much? Because I am one.
You're from under the sea.
Yep.
Okay.
We're
Just
moving
kidding,
on.
guys. I was trying to lighten the mood. It didn't work.
Was it not light?
It was.
It was light.
Oh.
I just
Need
thought
to
I
be
was,
lighter?
I was just being funny.
Oh.
That's hilarious.
Were you did you have like an at-home birth? Was your mom like...
That'd be dope. I've always wished I was from a water birth.
Crunchy parents.
I feel
Oh
like
my
your mom
God.
would have done that only because you always say you have an affinity with water.
I have a thing with water. I don't know what
We
it is.
know.
My child's going to be an Aquarius, little aqua baby.
thought you were going to say
I'm
an
a-
aquarium.
I'm an Aquarius.
Yeah, that's why I'm with you. I'm just kidding. That's not why.
Water sign.
You know why? You want to know why Michelle doesn't like this movie? Because there ain't no water in it.
Very little
But
water.
there's a very cute horse in it.
Angus.
All right.
Black Angus.
And her hair. Oh, can we talk about Merida's hair?
Her hair is wild in this movie.
You want to know what I'm going to be mad about right now? Actually, no, I'm just going to say it before you say it. You're going to talk about how much you like her hair, but you talked about how much Rapunzel's hair freaked you out.
Rapunzel's hair freaks me out. Merida's hair is okay.
Is it because
Why
of the
and why?
length?
It's the length.
Okay.
It's
fine.
the length of Rapunzel's hair.
But that's the whole point.
That's freaky to me. Merida's hair, especially when she's a child, oh my gosh, so adorable.
Super cute.
But, you know, it got unruly as she got older, but it didn't freak me out. It was very bouncy.
Maybe it's because it's not touching the floor.
It was, I think so. It was like a nice bright color.
Getting
Not
all
that
dirty.
Rapunzel's hair isn't a nice bright color. Once they braid Rapunzel's hair up, I'm okay with it. But it freaks me out when it was just flowing everywhere. It's very long. That's not okay.
Well, I was reading that Eleanor's hair, because I don't know if you noticed, but every
Her
time
hair
she
is
turned
very
around,
long.
super long, she had
Yeah.
it braided.
It was freaking me. Her hair was freaking me out a little bit.
Apparently, it was like over 6 feet long, like had it been untangled.
Right.
So it was
Wow.
like up in these crazy braids.
But yeah,
And went all the way
Eleanor's
down.
hair was freaking me out a bit. And I've even seen like people in real life that have hair that almost touches the ground, and it freaks me out. Like I can't.
They don't have to wear jackets. It's very economical.
I can't do very long hair like that. I don't know what it is. And I know it's supposed to be, like, especially in these movies, like, the longer the hair you have, like, I think it's associated with wealth. Like, you have long hair, you have, I don't know.
I have a mom cut right now. It's because I'm broke.
I'm basically bald.
Yeah.
Symbol of brokage.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But,
No, I haven't
no, her
paid for a
hair is
haircut in 12
wonderful.
years.
Good for you.
Maybe I have a red hair thing because I love Ariel's hair. I love Merida's hair. I don't know.
Yeah, Merida's hair is awesome. It looks really good. Like I think that animation and the rest of the animation in this movie is beautiful, but her hair really stands out as like the shining star.
I'm wondering how long it took them to pick that color because it's like
Ooh, it's
the
variegated.
perfect. It's like fiery. It's like the perfect color.
And there are different shades within
Yeah,
it.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like it has
Natural highlights
It has
from
like
the sun
beautiful, like orange and almost like strawberry blonde in it.
Yeah.
And you know what's really interesting is I was reading an article about her hair, of course, and they were saying how Ariel and Boo, which are two totally different characters, but Ariel from The Little Mermaid and Boo from Monsters, Inc. were both imagined originally to have curly hair. But because of the animation originally, it just was like way too ambitious for them to even
Didn't work at the time.
Didn't even work. Like I can imagine, especially with Ariel, like they might have been able to
Underwater,
make like
too.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
they maybe
Right.
could have made like kind of wispy, like wavy
Well,
hair.
and then also I don't know. Maybe this isn't the case, but like my hair is wavy, like naturally. But if I get in the water, it's straight. So I'm not sure if women with naturally curly hair, once they get under the water, I don't know if their hair straightens out. But I just don't know if that would have worked.
Well, I feel like with the weight of it, it would have been
Yeah.
a little bit straighter. But
Sure.
even with Boo, they said that at that time, like they wanted her to have like cute, crazy, like curly hair. And then they were like, you know what? Animation-wise, it's going to be so freaking hard. Just put it in pigtails.
We got enough hairs to put on Sully. I can't
Right?
possibly make
Yeah.
it curly.
Exactly.
Goodness
So it
gracious.
was a hair off battle, and Sully won.
Hair off battle.
Oh my goodness!
Right? So it's really interesting that they finally like nailed a hair, like a curly hair character.
Yeah, it looks wonderful. The way it bounces, like the movement. You notice it more when she's a child versus when she's an adult and she's walking through the forest. Her hair like perfectly bounces, which is totally what curls do if they're shaped right, you know, in real life. That was amazing. I'm also very, very upset because I believe you and Luis have met Merida in the parks, right?
we have.
I've never seen her, and it's upsetting to me
That
because
was
they
the first
used
princess
to
we met.
really.
Yeah,
Like together?
As soon as we walked in, pretty much.
So
It
when
must
we
have been around the time.
yeah, so you said this movie came out in 2012.
Yes.
So we started dating in 2012, and I think we went to the parks in like spring of 2013. So
Okay.
that would have been like right at the height of like, you know, people have already seen it, people are
Yeah.
excited and stuff. And she was over
By Small World?
She was over by Small World. She had like kind of like a concave, like
Yes.
with
With artifacts, right? Like
yeah,
stuff.
like just like Scottish
Yeah.
artifacts. And
Because I would
hanging out
pass
and
that,
around.
but I think it was past the point when she would come out. Because then I would always look on like the app, and it never showed like that she was coming. And I'm not even sure if you can meet her like in Princess Fantasy Fair. Because every time I've been through the Princess Fantasy Fair, she's never been there. So it's really upsetting to me because I'm like, I want to
She
meet
was
her.
cute. It was
Yeah.
really fun to see her because the cast member who played her
Accent?
had a very good accent.
Oh, that's so fun.
And I kind of want to say like the girl was Scottish, just because it
Because she was nailing it.
Yeah, it wasn't like forced at all.
Right.
But if she was like putting on that accent, then like good for her.
She
like
did.
Disney's doing it right.
It's fun. I need a Princess Fantasy Fair with Merida, Pocahontas, and Mulan. Like them three. That'd be a
Yeah.
cool picture.
All in
Just
the same
saying.
picture, like
Yeah.
all four of you. You're like the
Just
Wonder
like how they're
Woman.
going to be on Wreck-It Ralph too. Ralph breaks the internet.
Yeah, I can't
That's
even
gonna be
wait.
that's gonna be very interesting.
I can't even wait.
I'm very excited.
I'm waiting for that scene in the
Right,
movie.
yeah, exactly.
And you know
I
what?
don't.
I don't even know what else is
particularly care
happening.
about
Yeah,
the
Internet stuff.
Listeners, let us know if you would be interested in this, but I think that might be what it could be our first episode where we watch the movie and then like do it because we're so stoked about it.
That'd be fun.
We could.
We could do a meetup. where we
That'd
go
be
watch
really
it.
fun. I know we don't usually do like movies right when they come out, but I'm gonna have to make an exception for that one because I'm too stoked.
I'm very
Stoked.
excited.
Oh.
The only person not excited is Luis, but that's okay.
You're not? Why?
Luis
Oh, wow, he shrugged.
shrugging
I'm
in
tired. Sorry,
unexcitement.
guys. Yeah, I want to see how the story continues in Wreck-It Ralph.
That was such a good movie.
I'm just excited how
I
they
really
bring
like that.
in all of the because when we were first talking about this movie, Luis said that he doesn't like the idea of like the princesses talking to one another because it's like breaking the fourth wall.
Sure.
But it's interesting because instead of that, it's not really that they're not talking to us, which is the breakage of the fourth wall. They're talking to each other because
Right.
they're all in the internet.
Yes.
And the internet is like a real thing, and they are Snow White, who was in a movie, and they were Tiana, who was in
I think
a
it's
movie.
brilliant.
So I think that's freaking funny. They're
In-
not talking to us, like as the viewer. They're talking to each other.
Right. In Kingdom Hearts, all the 7 princesses of Heart, they all get kidnapped and are like all in a room together, and then you like rescue them, and so then they're like talking to each other, and it's similar, but obviously Wreck-It Ralph is going to be a lot more in depth. But yeah, that was the first time I saw
I think it's
all
going to
the,
be epic.
all the princesses together, and it didn't like break my brain, except for Alice in Wonderland was there, and I didn't consider her a princess.
Oh, yeah, she's not really a princess. Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, what's her name's a princess, and she's never considered a Disney princess.
Who?
The one from Treasure Planet. That girl.
The one from Treasure Planet.
No, you're talking about
The water planet that you didn't like. Treasure
Atlantis.
Planet. Atlantis.
Oh, Atlantis. Kida.
I love
she was a
Kida.
princess?
She was.
Yes, she was.
And she ain't no Disney princess.
Right. She ain't in Wreck-It Ralph.
Princess
she
of
wasn't in
Atlantis.
Kingdom Hearts. Nothing for Kida.
That'd be a great Kingdom Hearts thing. Atlantis.
It would.
Like,
Well, they do Atlantica with Ariel and
yeah, but
stuff like that. So,
anyways,
but it would be cool.
We digress.
Anyway.
But she needs to be a princess.
we digress. But this movie, this movie.
What else do we have to say about this movie?
The music was good.
Music was good.
Hans Zimmer Zimmer. Just kidding.
No,
It wasn't Zimmer.
it was
Zimmer.
not. But
it was
the,
our old
the
pal Patrick Doyle.
Senor Doyle.
singer Doyle, who did one Harry
Doyle.
Potter movie.
He did Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. He did the first Thor movie, and he's got some other credits on here. Aragon. You all remember Aragon.
Never saw that. Didn't read the book.
I read the book. Was very excited for the movie. Was very disappointed
about a dragon?
by the movie. Yes. It's-
Yeah,
I remember when
yeah,
everyone
I
was reading
didn't.
that in high school.
Uh-huh.
The books were
I didn't do it
they
though.
were good, from what I remember of reading them as a teenager.
You all read books in high school.
I read
Whatever,
books. I
history
stay reading
teacher.
books.
I know
Get
you're
outta
a
here.
history teacher.
I read textbooks, which is truisms.
We're all just
Written
we're all
by who, Louise?
We're all just
Who's
reading
true?
make-em-ups. Yeah, some of your textbooks got make-em-ups in them. Make-em-ups.
Wow, I'm just turning into like a freaking conspiracy theorist over here. Who wrote your textbook? The man.
Speaking of conspiracy,
Who wrote
theories-
'em?
Who wrote him?
Oh my goodness!
Where is he?
It was
It's
Batman.
a trap.
I'm Batman.
It was Batman.
I'm Batman. Speaking of conspiracy theories,
You guys
if-
want to watch
if-
Lego Batman?
Yeah,
Conspiracy theories.
Okay.
conspiracy theories. Tune in to Crack in the Vault if you are not already a patron of the podcast. We're going to talk about Pixar conspiracy theories.
That's true. We're gonna go deep in on a Pixar conspiracy theory in A Crack in the Vault, which you can find on patreon.com/The Walt Vault.
And most of you guys have probably at least heard of it. Like you've heard the term like Pixar theory, just because it's been out there since like 2003. And there's some like valid points to it. Like you can see where people are making these connections, but don't think that we believe that it's true
Oh, yeah, no.
because it has been debunked.
Oh, debunkage.
Debunked.
Like most conspiracy theories, but people still believe them.
I still believe the Tarzan Frozen one. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Oh,
We'll move on to that one too.
that Tarzan is
Is a brother
And
to
Tangled.
Elsa.
right.
Yeah, Tangled.
Yes, all got the same parents.
Anyways.
Anyway,
So basically, this movie near the end has a scene of feels. A scene where feels
Scene
where feels are had. And Pixar didn't do it at the beginning of the movie this time. They saved it for the end, which I don't know if I liked any better. There's still feels to be had. And Merida thinks her mom's going to be a bear forever, and it was sad.
well, they had the bond with each other, and they did so in like a really cool way, where Merida goes in and she sees all the clans fighting each other. She shuts them all up, shuts them down like a matriarch, and then gives a really good speech on her own, and
Yeah,
then
she does.
and then plays bear charades with her mom, and realizes that her mom is like, you have some freedom, you don't have to marry one of these dudes immediately. Anyway,
Well, and it's really interesting because I think that the weirdest, I don't want to say weirdest as in like it was weird, but the weirdest feels that I got in this movie was the idea that dad had literally the worst aversion to bear. And of course, mom is bear.
yeah,
So there's a point where Fergus realizes that the bear is actually in the castle. He's not just like fairy tailing.
not on a wild goose chase.
And he realizes, and he is so afraid for his daughter, and he thinks that she's pretty much lost it because if you were a parent and you saw a bear in between you and your kid, you would 100% push your kid out of the way and try to kill that thing.
There's no way that he's believing anything that comes out of his daughter's mouth. She's like, "That's my mom." He's like, "You're insane. That's a bear."
Well, and it's not even so much that I think he doesn't believe her. It's just when you're like,
He's not even listening to her.
it's not even. It's like you go into like blank,
Nothing she says matters right now
He
because there's
saw
a bear
his
in
wife's room destroyed. His wife's dead. He's gonna avenge his wife.
Yeah, so he's just like in like he's in action mode. He's in
Right.
fight or flight. He's not even hearing, understanding. He's not even working through it.
Get
So
behind
it's
me,
really
Merida.
interesting to watch that dynamic where mom is like, I'm not like, don't hurt me.
Right.
Like, it's so sad.
Yeah.
Because you can see her like trying not to be a bear, and dad
also,
is like,
dad doesn't believe in magic, so that doesn't help.
That
True.
does not help. Yeah.
very true. I forgot that point. That
Yeah,
makes
he-
a big
he
difference.
doesn't
He,
believe
he
in
pulls
magic.
out his sword and he gets a couple nicks in on her.
Oh yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
And the bear and mom accidentally hits Merida at that point, so
Yeah.
that made it escalated very quickly. You know, so
Yeah.
it's sad.
So I think that's what really got me in the feels department this time, because I've kind of reconciled my own familial issues. It's never been with my beautiful mother, so don't think I got mommy issues. But it's funny because so they have the fight in the castle. They then chase Eleanor out into the woods. She kind of starts becoming more and more bear-like, and Murder Bear shows up.
because
Mordu. Mordu bear.
Shows up, and now like he's going after Merida 100%.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like that was kind of the witches doing that. Like he wasn't fighting anyone else, he was just fighting Merida.
That's true. Yeah. Why was he going after her specifically?
It's that freaking hair, man. But he's coming after
I don't
her.
know why he was. Yeah, that was weird.
I don't
huh?
know, but
maybe
Mom-
maybe he
She
knew.
broke into his house earlier.
Okay, this is what I think.
Truth.
She did break into his house, and maybe even though at that point he is a bear and he's not that prince anymore, maybe fate was telling him go to Merida, because like
Yeah.
you'll be killed and you'll be freed, type of thing.
Maybe.
He could have had like a feeling type
Yeah.
of thing going on.
So at which point Mom steps in and fights, and
Oh,
is
yeah.
most definitely a very much smaller bear.
She gets like her mama bear moment on because like she was tied up and Mordu's going after Merida.
It was
and
sad.
she breaks out of all the ropes and then just starts
Mama
bear
strength
fighting.
came through.
Yeah,
That's
mama
real.
strength.
Like
She had
adrenaline.
I know we use a lot of Harry Potter references, but she had a Molly Weasley moment at
Oh,
the
yeah.
end of
Not
Deathly
my daughter,
Hallows.
you bear.
Not my daughter, you bear.
And
That's
she
hilarious.
whipped out that magic, and she
Exactly.
turned mortar into
Mortar.
stone.
Into stone, yes.
Literally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing
He was
happened
freed.
was that he turned into a will-o-wisp, and he was kind of freed. But I was reading like a theory, I suppose. I don't know if it's a theory or if it's actually what it was supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
But he was turned into a will-o-wisp so that he could then guide people to their fate and away from evil.
Yes.
Gotcha.
See,
So
that's
Will
what
o' the Wisps are,
I
like,
think the
lost
Will-o'-the-Wisps
spirits.
are
Kind of. Yeah.
helping out.
They're like ghosts, but like not ghosts.
Right.
You know.
So I thought that was
like
really
that. I think that's
interesting.
really cool.
Sticking around to help out.
I like just the sound they make. I don't know why. Like, it seems like it should be a freaky sound, but for some reason it's like calming and ethereal to
You
me.
want to know what it was?
Yeah.
Filmmakers recorded children whispering to create the distinct sound of the will-o'-the-wisp.
Okay,
Terrifying.
that's terrifying.
Absolutely creepy.
They wanted something that sounded both cute and mysterious, but I
Ugh.
think knowing that makes me very afraid.
Yeah. Never mind. I
That's-
take it back.
Yep. I know. I thought I would ruin that for you. You're welcome.
fate is this way.
That's so creepy. Oh my gosh.
on down to get your
Whew. Okay.
Right.
I don't like that anymore.
You know, something that was really interesting is I was reading that the original script of this movie had Queen Eleanor turning back and forth between human form and bear form when she was
Ooh.
fighting Merida.
Werebear.
That would have been cool.
Right?
That would've
So
been
she
cool.
was going back and forth, but the reason that they decided not to show that and not to show any actual transformation of her, like, do you realize they never, like,
Right.
showed her going from one to the
Just,
other?
like, under a blanket.
Yes.
Under a tapestry.
They didn't show that because they said that it would have been very hard for them to not show, like, this hair popping out of a
Right.
woman's skin.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it distorts
It
the
makes
view of a queen.
It makes it darker.
Yeah, it makes it much more scary. So they just decided to keep her bare and then not show the transformation. And I'm kind of cool with that.
Yeah.
Because when men do it, it's one thing. Like,
Right.
men can have hair on their face, but it would be very weird to see her, like,
Transform.
It would
into
be.
a-
Her
It would
transform
definitely be
to
a
a
bit
bear.
much.
especially because I feel like Walt Disney Studios animation could have probably done it, but Pixar is more realistic.
Right,
Do you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like, Walt Disney animation, like, they could have, like, popped the bear nose out, like,
Sure.
almost
It
like,
could have been cartoony.
yeah, it could have, like, popped a nose out, then popped the ears, and then she turned black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. And
into
that's
the
it.
black bear.
Into a bear.
But, like, Pixar is much more refined than that, and that would have been very weird to, like, see a
Yeah.
nose
Would've been
grow.
like
Pixar has
the
to
Wolfman.
have the most realistic animation I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Because
it's
during some of the opening scenes where Merida is just talking about fate, and it's just cutting to different scenes of the
the
landscape.
countryside, yeah.
Oh my god! And I was convinced it was real.
Yeah.
Once again,
The water.
their nature,
Good-looking water.
The things they do with nature are just wonderful.
I agree, Andre. I think the part where they were talking about, they were fishing,
Yeah.
where like the fish were popping out and hitting her in the face and the water was
Yes.
spraying and it was a beautiful creek and everything. That was,
Yeah.
it almost looked like they put animated bears on real water.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's-
for sure.
That's how close it is. But even the bear and Merida still look like real enough to work
Truth.
in that world. It doesn't look crazy out of place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not
I,
like
I think the Good
Good
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur,
looks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Where the
yeah.
water there was even more realistic than
Exactly.
this movie.
But the characters were super cartoony.
Yeah, that was.
And
our complaints
Arlo
on
looked
that.
like
I
you
think-
could have been drawn
Looks like
in
he's
the
on a
90s.
cereal
I
box.
think the
Get out of
reason
here,
when I
Arlo.
see characters,
And not on the Wheaties box.
oh my god, the reason when I see characters like Moana or Merida, not that I've seen Merida, but or Tiana, like these characters in the parks look more realistic to me. Like maybe just the actresses they pick look more like them, but I feel like when I see them in the parks, they look more like, wow, like that actually looks like the person from the movie.
Yeah.
Versus when I see Cinderella in the parks, because Cinderella in the animated movie doesn't look extremely human-like to me. Like it looks like a
Well,
cartoon.
she's
skinny
very
princess.
flat.
Yeah, the 2D
That when I
versus
see
3D animation is
when I
worlds
see
apart.
them in the parks, I'm like, oh, like that doesn't necessarily look like it to me.
Your face looks like it has more than just like a couple of lines for a
Yeah,
nose
yeah,
and a
yeah.
mouth.
So
Well, I think it's different too because they didn't get a whole bunch. I mean, there's obviously some, but there's not as much close up about their face.
Yes.
Like
Right.
when you think of like Tiana, they're all up in her face, and even though that one was 2D, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It shows her from different angles.
Right.
It shows her a lot of movement in her face, and it's not like we're not focusing on her dress.
Yeah.
We're not focusing on her persona. We're focusing on her.
her face, yeah.
You know, so I think that makes a huge
and
difference.
she has like facial features. Like I think she has like a dimple, and she's got
Right.
like her cheeks are a little bit rosy. and,
Right.
you know, she's got
Where-
a larger nose.
Where when you think of Cinderella, if I describe her, she is blonde. She has a black choker necklace. She has a blue dress. She has glass slippers.
blue
yeah,
eyes,
that's about right.
I don't even know if she has blue
She
eyes.
has blue eyes.
Does she have eyes?
I think.
Lips, maybe. But you know what I mean? You think
Right.
about her outfit. You
Yes.
don't think about what her face
Her
looks
face.
like.
Yeah,
so
that's what
much.
they like focused
And
on more.
I
at
wonder
that time.
if that was even intentional at the time, just to like
Probably. Probably
we're
not.
creating this character. She's her own person, but her face can be kind of basic, and that way, little girls who watch this movie will like see themselves as this character.
I would love to say that. I think that would be really cool, but I think it was just easier to animate.
Oh yeah, that's probably.
You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, there are multiple times, even up through like The Little Mermaid, where if you pause it, I don't want to say pause it because you can still do it crazy now,
Sure.
but like if you're just watching and you really pay attention to their face, it's like, that is not so and so. Like, look
Yeah.
at that. Like,
They-
come on.
You know, you skip a couple frames here and there, and faces get distorted.
Like, that's
and-
a little scary.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's really interesting that they take so much time now, and obviously the technology makes a huge difference.
Right.
But
Yes.
this is a really cool fact that I found out, which I wish they had done it, but I think that they've taken to doing it now. So when Brave came out, the filmmakers wanted to change the Cinderella Castle logo right at the beginning of the movie to show Castle Dunbrock.
Okay.
And they wanted to add a bagpipe to the Pixar logo. But for some reason, it sounded like that was kiboshed. And it's funny because I feel like since then, we've seen a lot of that happening.
Yeah.
Like live action Beauty and the Beast. Like
Right.
it was the
They usually tie
Beast
it in.
Castle. And like my favorite one was the live action Jungle Book.
Yes, where like it's the castle, but then it goes down the river and
Yeah.
then into
Yeah.
like the.
But then
the
I wonder
jungle.
if they didn't do that because the only ones that we've really seen that in are the live action movies because
Maybe.
Tomorrowland had it.
Yes.
So I wonder if they wanted to keep it for like live action only, like keeping it
And then
separated
keep the
out.
They didn't do
animated
it for
ones
Did
Moana?
Coco have it?
Oh yeah,
Coco had
Coco
the
had
song.
it,
the
yeah.
song was different, but the
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 castle was
No,
the
no,
same.
they didn't have any.
I'm trying to think if Moana had
Wasn't
something.
No.
Incredibles 2 different?
I didn't see
I
that.
haven't seen it. Michelle, do you
I
remember?
think so.
I think so.
But I think it was just the song again.
Hmm,
I think it was a song and like a laser or something.
maybe.
But
Interesting though,
Yeah,
something
right?
to think
that is
about
interesting.
or observe as we go forward watching movies.
yeah, gotta look at the history of
Interesting.
those openings.
So this was really cool. Apparently, during the film's production, the director and the producer, Mark Andrews and then Catherine Seraphin, they would prepare for like big meetings with like big wigs and animators or writers or whatever
Yeah.
by taking turns pretending to be each other's audiences. So they
Oh.
would be like, they would sit down and then one of them would like give the spiel and the other one would like do that. And apparently that was written into the script because they did it so much as where like Fergus is sitting there and
Fergus.
he's telling
Eleanor.
Eleanor to tell her like, tell me what you're gonna say,
Yeah, exactly.
and I'm pretending to be Merida. So apparently
That's so
that was
funny.
written into the storyline. I
That's
thought that was
cool.
super cute.
It's part of their process.
So they're like, "Yep, that's exactly how we do that. That's truthful."
Interesting.
I like that.
Very interesting. I kind of wonder why this was a Pixar film. Not that it doesn't fit in with other Pixar films, but it feels to me like it fits in more with Disney proper.
Like as like a 3D Disney.
Yeah, like it seems like we were saying, like it's a fairy tale. Like it seems much more princessy and straight up Disney than the rest of the Pixar movies.
I want you to finish your thought because I have things to say about that, and I wanted to.
I mean,
I didn't
that's-
want to be a naysayer.
That's
but
basically it. I mean,
I kind of feel that way, but
the
like-
way that I look at this up against other Pixar movies is that even though this is an original story, because Pixar movies are more original than Disney stories, just because like we've been saying, one, Disney tends to take from a concept that we might know
Sure.
in lore or in some kind of fairy tale universe, and then turns it into a storyline. And Pixar goes a little bit more outside of the box.
yeah.
I feel like as a Pixar movie on its own, this movie doesn't quite hit the depth that others do because Pixar is world creation
Yeah,
to me.
right.
They create a world that we've never seen before, we have no understanding of, and even if it has to do with humans, it's on like a different plane.
Right.
If you think about like Wall-E, yeah, it has to do with humans, but it has to do with humans like in the future, not even on Earth.
Right.
Or Up, it has to do with,
This
a
crazy
human
jungle with the
going into the
talking
jungle.
dogs and
that's probably
the
why I
Incredibles
think,
is a whole other like alternate 50s.
Exactly.
and that's probably why I always think Wreck-It Ralph is Pixar, and it's not.
Very
Because
true.
it creates like a world.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and I'm not saying I don't think it's not a good Pixar movie, but to me, it's not Pixar depth.
Yeah. No, because
Yeah,
you're
it's
right.
not at the top of my list
'Cause
by any means.
It feels like there's good world building in this. Like there's interesting stuff, but it feels fairly bare bones.
But
we
it's
know
kinda
that
like a
there's
real
magic,
world.
and with Scotland is a real place, and
Medieval Scotland. I mean, I feel it.
yeah, but they
I
don't
actually don't know if it's considered medieval, but
Oh.
to me,
Yeah,
it's
it's
it
pretty
seems
medieval.
like it. But yeah, they don't branch out as far as some other
Okay.
Pixar movies normally
makes
would. I
sense.
think.
And I'm not saying they have to be like medieval and they're actually inside a snow globe or something,
Right.
but like it's just there's usually a little bit more to the magic touch. Like they could have
Yeah.
gone a little bit more into the magic or a little bit more into something so that it
Exactly.
was more I don't know.
Like, why did the witch do anything that she did? They didn't really explain why she was the one doling out bear curses.
Yeah, it would have been cool if she was the other brother and it was her curse to
Right.
it was the brother's curse to I don't know, lead people to I don't know.
Something like
there
that,
was
you
there
know?
wasn't like a finality to really the coolest aspect of this whole movie, which was the magic that
Yes.
turned mom into a freaking bear.
Yeah.
Why was there magic in this real world? Like I want to know about it.
Yeah.
It's
It leaves it up to your imagination, which is cool, but I want more
I don't like imagination.
concrete info.
You don't like magicians?
Imagination.
Oh, I thought you
don't
said
like imagination.
magicians.
That either.
Dang.
Nah, magicians. Just kidding.
Did this movie make money? Because, in my opinion, it's kind of at the bottom. I think it is popular, but it's at the bottom tier of Pixar for me personally. So I
This
don't.
movie made money.
This movie
I'm
did
sure
make
it
money.
did, but I'm interested to see.
It had a budget of $185 million.
Jeez.
In the U.S., it grossed $237 million, and worldwide, it grossed $538
Okay, it made
million.
money.
Yeah, so
Boom, boom.
$500 million. Pretty good.
And I won't lie to you, there's nothing cuter than seeing a freaking little Merida run around.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
oh,
There's nothing
my
cuter
girl
than
wearing
those
a
three
Merida wig.
triplets turning into bears.
Oh,
My goodness.
so cute.
And there was nothing cuter than watching Addie like this movie. Like every time the handmaiden would scream when she saw a bear, Addie would scream.
She loved it.
So cute.
Sheer happiness.
Yeah.
Someone
She's
else is screaming here. I love it.
She was very interested in the bears, whether they were
Yeah.
scary or docile.
Yeah,
she was like, "Oh, bears.
She dug
kept
the
pointing
bears.
like, ooh, bears.
And it's even good because Luis likes those bears, and we bought them in California Adventure, so we have the three brothers as the bears.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're watching the movie, I went into Addie's room and got them, and we usually have them up on a top shelf, so she doesn't play with them yet. And I pulled them down, and she would grabbed all three and was holding them in her little arms,
Hugging them.
yes.
She was like, wait, what?
They're on the
the
screen,
best.
and I'm holding them. I love it.
My little bear brothers.
Inception right there.
Bearception.
Bearception. All right, what was its Rotten Tomato?
On Rotten Tomatoes, this movie received a 79%.
Okay, that
So,
seems pretty accurate to me.
It's still certified
Fresh?
fresh, but not the freshest, I
It's
suppose.
not the
But the
Fuego.
freshest of Pixar.
Right, yeah, especially of
Pixar's usually like
Pixar's.
96, 98, 99.
Yeah.
All right.
But I still like it a lot.
What are you going to give it?
I am going to give this movie...
Hold on, what did the other people give it? Don't you usually give
Oh,
it
yes.
the audience.
The audience score is 76%.
76%.
Oh.
And on IMDb, it has a 7.1 out of 10.
Oh.
So, yeah.
It kind of keeps going down.
Yeah.
IMDb is always lower than the Rotten Tomatoes, usually.
Yeah, because there's less 100% than there
Mhm.
are middling percents.
Middling.
Middling percents.
Middling.
I'm going to give this movie, I think, an 8.5. I really like the story. I really like the magic. I like the relationship between the mom and the daughter. I really love the three little brothers. Those dudes are hilarious. But yeah, there was not as much world building as other Pixar movies, and not as much backstory, and there was definitely a level of depth with emotion, but not quite as much as Inside Out or Up or even Wall-E,
Wall-E. I love Wall-E.
So 8.5.
All right, Luis.
I'm gonna stick with 8.5 as well. Kind of to go on what Andre said about the world building. To me, the 8.5 is mostly because there was no I didn't really catch a reason as to why she didn't want to marry those guys.
It just was
Like-
that she wasn't ready, quote unquote.
Well, I didn't get that from the movie.
She said it like 4 times.
She did say it.
Well, I guess pretty much what I'm trying to get at is that it really had no purpose.
Okay.
Her negating it, like if she wanted to say no, I want to build my own kingdom. I had another vision and kind of explained it a little
Okay.
bit more. Then yes, which is funny because it kind of alludes to that in that speech in the hall.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it wasn't.
It would have. I think
I would have
that.
liked it a lot sooner.
Well, and it might have taken a little bit of the brattiness out.
Because that's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
She's a teenager, though.
Yeah.
But I think that I kind of agree. If she had said, "I'm only 16 years old," you know what I mean, like
There's
something
still
like,
a lot of things I'd like to do
Yes.
before I get married.
"I'm
that
not
would've been
ready
okay.
because I want to do all of these other
Yes.
things. I know that I can lead this kingdom without having to get married. I don't feel like it's necessary for me to be tied down when I want to go and do other things on my own."
That's right.
It really seemed too bratty to me, and I needed a little bit more purpose. I mean, more so than I'm not ready.
I feel
I'm not
you.
ready because, and then explain it.
I get it.
You know,
I appreciate that.
Either way, I liked the movie. I just would have wanted a little bit more context.
Cool. What about you, Michelle?
I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. I like it. I don't connect with it on as deep a level as I do with other Pixar movies. It still has some of the Pixar feels, and it has great humor. There's lots of funny moments.
Yeah.
Why I absolutely love it. The music is beautiful. The scenery is beautiful. This is a solid 8 out of 10 for me. Emily.
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 as well. I do enjoy this movie, but it's not one that I'm going to come back to, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't hold up really well. The comedic parts were much more funny than I remember. Like I said, I first saw this movie when Luis and I were dating, so 6-7 years ago maybe. And I just remember like sobbing. Like that's all I remember from watching this movie was that mom turned into a bear, they fished, and then I was sobbing at one point. And so that wasn't like a really good like impression to go into this movie with.
Sure.
But the comedic parts were friggin' hilarious.
Yeah.
When you saw their butts. That was funny.
butt humor. Like Fergus is hilarious.
Yeah.
Anytime he's like trying to make a speech, he's like so into it, and everyone else is like, "Dude, sit down. Like we do not want to hear that story again."
I love him.
And that totally reminds me of like people in my family because very tall telling. And it's like, dude, we've heard that story 75 times, you know? So it's very reminiscent in that part. And I think
love
that was
it.
really funny. So I think it was a great movie. It was very different than I expected. But I think that it's going to hold up over time
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I bet I'll like it. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a daughter one day, and then I bet I'm going to watch it again and be like, oh, my God. Like, it's one of those movies that can relate to, it might change over time, like how my opinions of it are.
Well, and it's funny, too, because when I was watching this movie, and especially because, you know, now I'm looking at it from a mom's point of view, too, right? Because now I'm in a different life stage. I was holding Addie at one point, and I even thought to myself, like, this is a really good, like, mom teaching moment,
Yeah.
too. Like,
Yeah.
all of the things that Eleanor was saying to her was technically correct. Like, no, you probably shouldn't be shooting things with an arrow. Like, I mean, probably not.
You know.
But, like, you should say, if you want to do archery, let's do it in a more controlled environment. Like, you can't just go off shooting things, like, out in the wilderness.
Right, yeah.
Like, you're going to get hurt. And you can explain that to your child. And it's like you were saying earlier, it's all about in the way you communicate with people.
Yeah.
So I think it was a really good teaching moment for parents, too. Like, you can't berate your kids. They're not going to listen. They will rebel.
Correct. But hey, her rebellion gave her some sweet Hawkeye archery skills.
Yeah.
I almost want to change my score to 8.7, just give her 0.2 points for just being super cool and great at archery. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
She was pretty much
great in it.
Hawkeye
Yeah.
from the Marvel comic universe.
She was.
Comedic universe.
The Marvel comedic universe.
I'm done.
Hawkeye, the funniest Avenger.
He's the worst of
Oh my
them.
goodness.
So done.
Hilarious. Luis, you want to tell us what movie we're watching next week?
We are going to be watching one that is, in my opinion, not very commonly known. The movie Bolt.
Bolt from
Bolt.
2008, starring Miley Cyrus.
Oh,
I
God.
thought the Bolt was a boy dog.
The dog is a boy. His human is is the Miley Cyrus.
Oh, I'm not excited for this.
Bolt, by the way, is voiced by John Travolta.
Oh, I thought it was like a little dog.
It is a little dog.
Bolt,
Isn't it?
lightning, go, bolt, lightning.
Yeah, Bolt. Yeah, it is a little dog, but
I have never seen this movie.
I think I've seen it once. I don't remember.
I have seen it once.
I don't remember. I remember when it came out. And I remember, I mean, that was like a weird 2008. I was not going to the movies as much
Me
during
either.
that time. I was way too interested in boys in high school. So, you know, there was other things.
I was a
Girls-
freshman in high school. I had things to do.
Girls
I was
weren't
not.
interested in me. I was watching movies.
You stay watching.
Andre and I were on
movies.
different spectrums of life.
Yeah, so we're gonna watch Bolt.
Yeah, so Bolt
Woo!
Bolt is coming next week. Get your dogs ready.
All
don't know what
right,
I'm
dogs
talking about.
ready.
So stay with us until next week. We are on social media at the Walt Vault Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.